Hi, and welcome like every day to Real-Time Daily 20 Days. We have 5 days a week, 5 different traders. We will speak about 20 days, strategies, market scene, and maybe 1 or 2 questions from your side directly answered on our webinar. Our goal is quick and smart, but for that daily. So let's have a nice start like every day. And like every day, we will start with our risk disclaimer. Forex and CFDs are leveraged products and can result in losses that exceed your deposits. If you're a starter, please start with a demo account and make yourself familiar with long trading, short trading, leverage trading, and your personal risk management. If you'd like to read the full risk disclaimer, just visit one of our web pages, for example, admiralmarkets.com, and you will find everything written down there. This is our scheme. On Monday, it's Jay's day. On Tuesday, like today, it's Paul's day. On Wednesday, it's Giancarlo's day. On Thursday, it's Marco's day. And on Friday, it's Dirk's day. Our leading day traders live every day to the same time. This is me. My name is Jens. My English made in Germany. I'm the German guy. I'm calling and speaking from the German office. We are a big international broker, over 18 country offices. But I'm not the main speaker. The main speaker is the day trader of today. So in a couple of seconds, Paul will speak about the markets. And of course, if you'd like to trade Forex and CFDs, you will get many benefits only with us. For example, one of our bestseller DAX 30 CFD, typical spread of just 0.8 points during the main trading hours. Check all the details out on admiralmarkets.com. There you will find also how to contact us. You can call us, you can send us email, or visit YouTube or Facebook. Everything linked from admiralmarkets.com. And of course, you will find also something about our regulatory background. Admiral Markets UK Ltd is regulated by the British Financial Conduct Authority. Enough from my side. Now it's time for Paul. Hi, good morning, good day, Paul. What's your view to the markets today?
Good morning, Jens. Good morning, everybody. I thank you for the introduction, Jens. I hope you can all hear my voice. I hope you can see my screens as well. So here we go. Tuesday, 19th of June, ladies and gentlemen. So we have it's a rather well, we've had a rather interesting week since I last spoke to you, and we've got an interesting week going on at the moment. We've had we're having a little there's a cozy little meeting of central bankers going on in Sintra in Portugal at the moment. I'm sure they're all enjoying a bit of fine weather and some great cuisine, and having a good talk about the state of the world, and in particular their economies. And I've seen this morning that Mr. Draghi has been speaking and has made a comment about how could be a good while before he looks to lift any of the European interest rates, which will of course had an impact on euro dollar and in fact all of the euro currencies, which we'll look at in a moment. But today, to start with, I thought I'd do something a bit different. Let's keep ourselves keep on our toes. Look at something a little bit different. Today I'm going to look at China, okay? Not something we've really covered in my particular session before, but I thought I'd bring it up, give it some new insights, some new opportunities to have a look at. And here I am. I'm on the Admiral MetaTrader 4 Supreme Edition, okay? I have a profile here which is just I tag it as a market overview profile. So I have it there for all of the kind of the major currencies of the major indexes, the major stock indexes of the world, and then also a couple of the commodities in terms of gold and oil. But why don't we have a little look at China? As I said, here we have, this is the basically the China A50. Okay, you can find it here. Okay, on the in your Market Watch facilities there. Okay, you can bring that up and have a chart. This is the daily chart. For those of you who are completely new to trading and joining us for the first time, I will say my charts are pretty simple. Just have green bullish candles, red bearish candles, a blue 20 simple moving average, a red 50 simple moving average, and the green is a 200 period moving average. And then I will draw on levels of support and resistance and particular trend lines or patterns as I see fit. So this is the A50. Now, what actually is the A50? Well, it's kind of like it's created by the sort of by the FTSE group, and it represents the sort of components of the Shanghai Stock Exchange and the Shenzhen Stock Exchange. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. And it just shows you the companies that issue the A shares rather than their B shares. Now, I don't in any way consider myself a fundamental guy. I'm sure we have some really super contributors like Jay, etc., who could give you some fantastic insight into the fundamental elements going on in China at the moment. I'm a simple trader. I'm a simple technical trader. I like to trade what I see. When I look at here, this, of the daily chart, we can see here that invariably, we had at the start of February, we had that that little hiccup which we saw on the global markets there. Okay, we saw that across, across the European ones, across the American major indexes. But what has been interesting is that, we've seen the American indexes. Yes, they went sideways for a bit, but they have come back. And in particular, in things like the Russell and the Nasdaq, which we had a little look at last week, they have actually come back strongly, and they've actually come back and gone to actually new all-time highs. But if we have a look here at this representation of, of the sort of the Chinese stock exchanges, well, we can see that actually the picture has not been as bright, and invariably we're hearing rumors, and we're seeing tales of actually some rumblings within the Chinese economy, and you can see there for yourself that in fact we've just invariably we've made sort of new lows for the year there, and actually the price action there is not terribly exciting. Perhaps we maybe have a little double bottom going on there, but on the daily chart, but actually I'd need to see it break this trend line and get back up above that 200 period moving average for it to be of interest to me. So that's just the Chinese A50. As I said, it's offered to you by Admiral. Take a look at it, okay? It's actually not something I particularly trade, but I use it to give myself just a little bit of insight into what's going on in one of the world's biggest economies. We also have the Hang Seng here, okay, which is the representation of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, okay. And once again, you can see that we had a great run towards the end of last year. We had a little bit of quite a dramatic drop off there in the sort of January, February time. But what's been interesting is we've just gone sideways, coiled up, but over the last few days, once again, the Hang Seng we can see has dropped, and we had yesterday, okay, we had with the last couple of days we've had some real strong selling there, okay. We're now deeply beneath that 200 period moving average on the daily chart, and if I just zoom out a bit, well, realistically, we've not been beneath that 200 period moving average since, so we'll look at that, sort of the end of 2016, okay? So, that's 18 months we've been above that 200 period moving average in a very, very nice uptrend. But, we can see it's been scrappy this year, the last few months, and we're back beneath that 200, and I'll be looking to see, will it bounce, okay? Will it bounce like it did the last time, 18 months ago? Or is this the indication that we might be starting to see a bit of a move down in those Chinese stock exchanges? So that's all well and good, but what does that mean to us? How can we turn that into a trade? What can we do to make ourselves available of trades? Well, what we would do is we'd look to sort of trade that through perhaps the Australian dollar. So why don't we have a little look at that? While that's saying, why would we be interested in the Australian dollar? Well, for those of you who are completely new, in a very simplistic, view of it, is that, for the last 15 odd years or so, okay, that where the Chinese economy has been on an absolute tear, invariably to help fuel that economy, that invariably the China's needed to rapaciously buy commodities from around the world, and in particular those hard commodities have primarily come from Australia, and that money has flooded into Australia, and there's been a great boon for the Australian economy and also the strength of the Australian dollar. But if we look here I've got just a profile here on the Australian dollar, okay, here. So, I always suggest to everybody set them up for the big major currencies. So very quickly, you can have a look at what's going on in the world and have an indication of, what that particular currency is doing. And hopefully you can just very quickly see there that, as we have seen, little bits of, hard selling off in China, that has also been reflected in, sell off in the Australian dollar. Okay, the Australian dollar for the last couple of weeks has had a bit of a torrid couple of weeks, and invariably that has weakened significantly. So that now it's, when I look at my sort of, top 8 of the sort of currencies, Aussie dollar is now sitting down towards the bottom of that. And in particular, what I've wanted to do is to actually to trade the Australian dollar against the US dollar and the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. Why? Because, as I said, the Australian dollar is weakening, whereas the US dollar and the Japanese yen have been strengthening. So why don't we take a quick look at them? Well, hopefully you can see that we've actually just basically we've been rolling down there for the last few days. Okay, we've had significant sell-off. I would be looking at this as also we had a bit of a break of a counter trend line, which is also a bit of a flag pattern there. Hopefully you can see, and so you'd be looking at that under classical technical analysis, you'll be looking to sort of extend the flagpole there to give you an idea of where we may head down towards. So right to this moment, okay, it's literally Aussie dollar took off this morning, and what I'd be looking to do is that little double bottom we've had there, I'm looking to sort of wait to see it rally up to the sort of area, hopefully around about sort of about sort of 73.90. That's what I'd like to see us roll up to, maybe using the recent lows here of earlier today, okay, around about 73.94. 50-period moving average, looking at there an opportunity to go short. So there isn't a trade right this moment, but what I'd be saying, ladies and gentlemen, is just watch, see if we get a little bit of a dead cat bounce before we get an opportunity to sort of sell the rally on a longer term basis. And that also has the same implication for the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. You can see on the daily chart, it's just, we've had a, good strong sell-off there. We're into these levels around about the 81, okay, around about the 81 handle there. And when I go down, what I'm looking for is the same pattern, okay, a little bit of a dead cat bounce there, okay, a little bit of a dead cat bounce. And once again, I'm looking to sort of, see, can we get a rally up to around about that kind of 81.25, 81.30 region? And I'd be looking then to be a seller of the Aussie against the yen. So there's not a trade right to this moment, but what I'd be saying is I want to be a seller of the Australian dollar on the rallies, and it's just a little bit of a case of waiting to sort of see those particular pullbacks happen, and then actually look to sort of reverse into them and to sell those particular rallies. So that is a way that we can have a look at playing the sort of the Chinese weakness through just trading it through the Australian dollar. So keep an eye on that. I think it's going to be an interesting sort of a few days and weeks, both for those Chinese markets and of course for the Australian dollar. But what I sort of touched upon very, very early at the start of our session was that there are lots of central bankers having a very nice few days in Portugal, okay, and of course those comments will come out. We've had Draghi speak this morning, and the impact that he's going to take a while to basically to raise interest rates, for the euro. Well, what do you think that's likely to have had in terms of impact upon the euro? Well, not unsurprisingly, we've seen this morning a really good strong sell-off there. Okay, against the euro, against the dollar. In fact, the euro against pretty much everything. Okay. And that's of interest to me. Okay, Draghi came out and had a comment there last week, his session Thursday, which started a bit of a sell-off in euro, and I'm sure his comments this morning are only just going to add sort of fuel to that fire. So we see the euro dollar there. Okay, we talked about this last week. If I just go up onto the daily chart here, I thought we might actually just get a bit of a rally up to around about 119, 120 region. Okay, that's what I thought we might have before we would get a chance to sell off. But the euro wasn't waiting for us. Okay, after Thursday, after Thursday's comments about Draghi and then some comments about the American economy, what we saw was just really strong sell-off there against the euro, against the dollar, and I think that will continue. And this morning, but that's what's happened as we've had as Draghi's comments came here. Okay, there was a pullback to fall away, and that to trade through that. So once again, I'd be looking for a little bit. Maybe will there be a little dead cat bounce there that might provide an opportunity? Okay, to rally up and to sort of take the trade with that, but I'll be looking at what how the euro trades for the rest of the day to sort of give ourselves a little bit of an opportunity. So not only have we had, let's say, a weakening of euro results, comments by Draghi, but then of course we've also over the last few days had a little bit of disturbances within Germany, and Frau Merkel is having a little bit of a challenging time at the moment, and there's been some let's say some sort of saber rattling within domestic politics within Germany, and we can look at, well, what impact has that had upon on the DAX. And we can see here in the daily chart, we actually, from last week where we were looking and talking, we traded up, and actually you can see over the last few days, we've just had a real strong sell-off there, haven't we? Really strong sell-off, and we're back down towards these kind of these levels that we saw here. Okay, these levels here around about sort of 12,600. We can see we're bouncing them, and this might be the session or the week or the day for a bit of dead cat bounce action. That's what we seem to be doing. And what I wanted to do was to be able to sort of have a little bit of a trade here. We can see there's a double bottom around about that 12,600 level. So what I'd be interested to do is, using the mini terminal on the Supreme edition, is just to look to see, well, could we get a really sort of a small rally back down towards there? I'd look to be around a buy around about 12,611. with my stop beneath those lows, around about 12,590. So, looking at risking around about 21 pips, and then looking for, will we get a bit of a good, strong dead cat bounce up to, not too far up to around about, say, probably about 12,665. Okay, there. So, risking around about 20 pips to make possibly around about 50. So we're in the region of about 2.6 to 1. Okay, so I'll just be looking at that. As if we get a dead cat bounce happen there, I think we might have already launched it. But let's wait and see upon that. Okay, but the question around about DAX is of course going to be just linked to what goes on with the political situation in Germany. My own belief is that Frau Merkel is she's quite the survivor. So I suspect that we'll see her for at least a short while, and with that will have that impact upon the on the actual DAX itself. So what I wanted to also just finish off with is just before I take a couple of questions is as I said, Euro's looking pretty weak, and what we saw here on the Euro Aussie is effectively we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about a sort of a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders forming, which blew up. We've hit recent highs, okay, and actually what I'm interested on the 4-hour chart is a bit of a swing opportunity. It is a case of I kind of like the fact that we have a bit of a momentum reversal candle. If it had closed beneath the lows, the previous candle, we'd have a proper key reversal, but I kind of like that we might see a little bit of a breather there, okay, taking in terms of sort of profits, okay, people who've been long Euro, short Aussie, but invariably those people who probably after this morning's news on the Euro are probably sort of wanting to short out of that a little bit. So I would just have a be looking to sort of see if there will be a little bit of a pullback there, okay, maybe sort of sell around about the kind of 157.10 area, stops about 157.50, and then back down towards sort of trade down towards about the 155.40 region, which once again there you're risking there about sort of about 40 pips for about 160 pips, so it's about just over about 4 to 1. That's a trade for me. Those who know me will know I like to sort of trade asymmetric reward to risk ratios. That's the way I like to particularly play my trades. So just keep an eye on that. It might well be that it slips and slides, but we'll keep an eye on that as the day goes on. Okay, we've got as I said, an interesting week. We're going to have those central bankers speaking sort of today, tomorrow. We've got Carney speaking on Thursday, and Thursday night is Mansion House speech. So just keep an eye on that. At the moment, as I've said for the last few weeks, okay. Euro sterling, nothing going on there. Look at that, banging around 87.50 again. Okay, there's nothing there to get me interested in that. Maybe Carney will say something of relevance or interest, but I think most of us have given up on expecting anything useful out of Carney's mouth. But there you go. That's a personal opinion. So there you go, Jens. We've got a couple of minutes left. If there's any questions, I'll try and take them. We've tried to cover a good spread today.
New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar is the wish of the participants today. So let's take a look to this Forex pair, please.
Yep, absolutely. Right, let's have a quick look at that, bring that up. It's been kind of interesting because, we talked about the sort of COMDOLs, okay, the commodity dollar currencies, okay, which is effectively Kiwi dollar, Aussie dollar, and Canadian dollar. And here we have a Aussie dollar here, okay. Let's just quickly go up to the weekly chart very quickly. Okay, so it's an interesting one, Aussie dollar, okay, against Kiwi dollar, because as countries they're both so very closely aligned, in terms of what they're looking to bring to the world, in terms of they are they're commodity driven currencies. So we get to see kind of big ranges on there that are very useful for trading. What we've seen over the last what we saw over a couple of weeks was a good rally in Aussie against Kiwi dollar, but as that China trouble has sort of filtered through, it seems to be affecting Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar a great deal. So we've actually rolled over, and what I'd be looking to do is I'd personally be a seller of Aussie against Kiwi dollar. I'd be looking to have a seller back down towards the kind of round of these lows. So I'm looking in front of that trend line, from that lows, looking to be a seller down towards around about the 105.50 level. That's what I'd be that's what would be my intention, sort of short on Aussie against the Kiwi dollar. There you go, Jens. Quick and sharp.
Thanks for the deep Paul. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is a new day trader. So if you like to join us every day to the same time, Admiral Markets is available for you. Thanks a lot. And if you'd like to watch it again, a couple of hours later, it will be available as a video recording in our YouTube channel. Thanks to Paul all the time. Good trades. Greetings from Berlin office. Bye bye.